Are we on, are we live yet?
Matt, reminder, Brendan said that he had a meeting that he couldn't get out of and was probably gonna hop on around
Eight.
Eight.
That's fine.
Eight.
Then we just, all right, then we can start then, right?
okay, yeah.
I'd like to call to order the November 9th, 2022 Long Hill Township Committee meeting. Madam Clerk, can you please read the statement?
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, adequate notices of this meeting, specifically the time, date, and public call-in information were included in the meeting that was electronically sent to the Echo Sentinel and posted on the township website. The agenda and public handouts for this meeting can be viewed online at www.longhillnj.gov. A public comment period will be held in the order it is listed on the meeting agenda.
All right. Let's everybody rock.
Yeah,
Megan?
Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, ma'am. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Committeeman Lavender,
Present.
Committeeman Verleza,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Pasurcia. You're on mute.
Present.
Mayor Dorsey.
Present. I believe Mr. Ray will be joining us at 8 o'clock based on something he said earlier. All right,
Mayor, can I make one announcement before?
go ahead, Jack.
That 2 items are going to be carried until the December meeting. We'll take formal action on the ordinance when we get to it, but just so the public knows, that would be resolution 22-291, authorizing and approving the redevelopment agreement along with the ordinance, which is at the end of the agenda, ordinance 496-22, the Valley Business Zone ordinance. Both of those will be carried till December. Like I said, The ordinance
14th.
public hearing will be carried by motion when we get to it in the agenda.
Megan, that was December 14th, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. That's all I had.
Thanks, Jack. All right, let's see. First thing is ordinance, first reading for introduction is ordinance 504-22. That is the firearms ordinance, correct, Jack?
That's correct.
All right, can you just explain to us anything that's changed we haven't talked about yet?
No, as you know, we've carried this for several meetings so we could discuss the various components of it. What it does is it prohibits firearms anywhere in the township except for certain listed exceptions, which include hunting with a hunting license. It also retains the old ordinance provision which prohibited any firearms in the core area of the township, which is described in detail in the ordinance, and that was just copied and pasted into the new ordinance.
And then, Jack, as for the hunting, nothing of the hunting has changed as it's always been, correct?
That's correct. That'll
Okay.
be exactly the same.
All right. So let's see, a motion to approve 504-22. Then it'll be relisted on the December 14th meeting for public discussion.
Well, should we have any comments on it first?
If you want to, go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah, I was drawn to the definitions paragraph on firearm. It seemed pretty broad, and I mean, it could include things like airsoft guns and other things like that. I just, it made me uncomfortable how broad it was.
As you know, we got emails from a resident on that question too. That's the ordinance from Title 2C of the New Jersey statutes. So I agree it's broad, but on the other hand, the problem is if you make it too narrow, then somebody falls within an exception. I think we're better off leaving some prosecutorial discretion to the police to use their good judgment, and applying the ordinance. The hypothetical that the resident gave was a teenager, a 14-year-old with a BB gun, and I responded to him in part and said, actually, under state law, that, teenager could be charged with a misdemeanor. So I think it has to come down to, reasonable application of the law by the police department. I'm not opposed to removing things. I just find it's the safest route to go is to, go with an established state definition.
Yeah, I wanted to flag that, and I'm sure there'll be residents that are going to want to weigh in on that as well.
I'm sure. And like I said, I have no objection to changing it, but that's where the ordinance, that's where the definition came from verbatim.
I'm getting
Yeah.
people reaching out to me also that they're concerned about the broad spectrum. Like it could include compressed air Nerf guns, stuff like that.
Part of the problem is, you can get into such minute detail on an ordinance. Like I said, I'm certainly not opposed to changing the definition. But, I just don't want to try to put in try to come up with too many hypotheticals that.
Yeah, well, obviously, we could talk about it again on the 14th before it's passed. There's no public comment on it now, but clearly
Right.
more public input. And look,
Yeah.
letting the public that wants to contact us ahead of time, please do. Clearly, there are members have been talking to Vic and Scott.
Yeah.
I was questioned about the hunting part of it. So that's why we're bringing up these issues. So please, if you have issues or things you want to raise, contact us. If you can't come to this meeting, we'll bring them up just as we have.
Yeah, and we'll have time. We'll have time to continue it at the next meeting until the last meeting of the year and still adopt it this year. And if need be, we can carry it till next year.
That's fine. It's like
Yep.
and all the hunting regulations are still in effect as if they have been for years, even if this thing lingers on until the new year, because I don't want people to miss hunting season.
That's correct.
All right.
Right.
So can I have a motion to approve ordinance 504-22? And we'll put it on for December 14th for public comment and more the fine tuning, I guess.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Committeeman Lavender,
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pasertia,
Yes.
Mayor Dorsey.
Yes. All right, next is 499-22. Is the second reading of the music and outdoor dining venues. I believe, Jack, you just give us a brief synopsis of what we decided. I think it was 10 o'clock on what, Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and 9
That's correct. And 9 o'clock the other nights. This has been in the planning board, and they found it was consistent with the master plan. They did say that they're looking at the whole issue, but they have no objection to this ordinance being adopted in the interim.
All right. So we'd open it up to, we open up the public now? Yes.
Yes, yes, please.
We're open up to the public. Any member of the public have any questions or comments regarding the outdoor music or outdoor dining ordinance? Madam Clerk,
There's a Pamela Ogens that would like to speak.
go ahead, Ms. Ogens. You have to unmute yourself.
Okay, I did. I'm at a loss for why we're not being able to comment tonight on the firearms ordinance. Why are we being advised to contact you? I thought that was the purpose of this meeting, public
this is-
comment.
No,
And
this is the
you're kicking
first
can
reading.
Down the road again.
This is the first reading of it, and then the public hearing will be next meeting, just like the public hearing on the noise ordinances today. So please, we invite you to usually come, so please come on the 14th, or if you have any other issues you want to bring up ahead of time, we can start working on ahead of time.
I have issues now.
Well, you could send Jack emails, us email. You send-
Why can't I tell you them tonight?
Because tonight is not the proper time. It's the first reading. We always do it this way.
The first reading is really administrative. It's to schedule the public hearing so that it can be discussed after it's published.
Then why'd you even bother sending it to us?
We do this with every ordinance.
I remember making comment when you have introduced, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't remember doing it this way in the past, but you caught me by surprise, so I can't say that it hasn't been done that way. I just am really a little resentful of spending a fair amount of time to make up comments for tonight, which now I will not be able to voice.
No, you'll be able to voice them at the next meeting, and you
I
have.
said tonight, Mayor. I said
Yes,
tonight.
no, that's correct, Ms. Ogens. Do you have anything you want to talk about regarding the outdoor music or dining venue?
Nothing whatsoever.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else, Megan?
There is a Gary Pratt. Hold on.
Hi, Gary Pratt, Lackawanna Boulevard in Gillette. When you talked about this at the last meeting, it was originally said Friday, Saturday, then someone said Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and that's what it became. Maybe it's because I've been self-isolating so long and I'm oblivious. But I certainly understand Friday and Saturday night. What am I missing? What is the significance of Thursday night? Thursday night is a school night, and I'm not understanding why it needs to go till 10 o'clock on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Well, some people do have outdoor music venues. Even in college, people would go out, like 20 years ago, go out at on Thursday nights as well. So we don't want to limit our local eateries to just 2 nights a week. And that's why we decided to do it that way. At least that's my opinion, unless somebody else has a different opinion.
I think Mr. Pratt brings up a good point, but I think also we want to, try to make the ordinance reasonable and friendly to be conducive to business. So it's kind of like a fine line.
And aside from the hotel, really, like Chilento's not near anybody.
No,
Chimney Rock or Vintage, whatever it's called now, is not really near anybody. So I don't think an extra hour is going to make a difference. I don't even know if they use it Thursday nights, to be honest with you, but at least gives them an option. Megan, anybody else on this topic?
There's a Mr. Ferrandino that would like to speak.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Being in the business, I don't think that certain days should be the criteria for the music as opposed to how much decibels of noise, how loud it is. So if somebody wanted to have something on a Monday night, what's the difference Monday night, Friday night, Saturday night? As long as the music level, the noise is kept below whatever you deem the decibels that it could be. Like you said too, a lot of these places don't have anybody, any residents around them. So why pick specific nights? The same thing with other ordinances, rather than be apples and oranges, apples and apples. The problem is noise. What day the noise comes in at doesn't matter as much as how loud the noise is. That's my opinion.
Mayor, I can respond in part to that.
Go ahead.
One of the problems is that the township doesn't have the equipment or the qualified personnel to measure decibels, and that's been a problem with noise ordinances. This ordinance does contain a nuisance provision, which the courts have held, even though it may be somewhat vague. In the case of noise ordinances, it can be enforced because, you know, people have an understanding of when loud music becomes a nuisance. So there is that provision in there. But I think the problem is enforcement in the case of decibels, and that's why we don't have a noise ordinance, a general noise ordinance that contains all those details. The state actually preempted noise at one point in time, but then they laid off the entire noise enforcement department, so they've never really enforced the state regulations.
All right. Anybody else in the public that has any questions, Megan?
There's a CA that would like to speak.
Go ahead, CA.
Hold on, sorry. There we go.
Yeah, I'd like to see that the officials on this call at least look attentively to the public calling in when they're responding, making comments. Some are writing notes, some are on their cell phone. I think it's very disrespectful. And maybe that's a violation of our ordinance that we established of people not disrespecting people. And I see people looking down, they're writing, they're on their cell phone. I'd like this behavior to stop immediately and going forward. Thank you for all your attentiveness. At least look at like you're interested in what we say instead of continue to write. If you want me to name names, I can do that, Mayor.
That's okay. Do you have anything you want to say about the noise ordinance?
I want attention, attention. At least look like you're interested.
All right, thank you. Anybody else on the noise ordinance? Madam Clerk.
I don't see anyone, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, so I'm looking for a motion to approve resolution 22-82. Is that, no, sorry, wrong one. 22,
99.
yeah, 499-22, sorry.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Committeeman Lavender,
yes.
Committeeman Verleza,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia,
Yes.
Mayor Dorsey.
Yes. All right, now we move on to the consent agenda, which is 22-82 to 22-92. Are there any things that you pulled out or discussed?
We're pulling 291, Mayor. I think it's still 291.
Yep,
Oh, that's okay. That's, yeah, okay, that's being, okay, yes, you guys didn't tell me that. All right, 291's being pulled. That's gonna go on when? Because I don't know what it,
December 14th. It's carried to December 14th.
all right, that has to do with the car wash property, I take it? Okay, thank you. All right, any other thing that needs to be pulled out or anything? All right, seeing none, can I have a motion to approve resolutions 22-82, 22-92, minus 291?
So moved.
Second,
Committeeman Lavender,
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza,
yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia,
Yes.
Mayor Dorsey.
Yes. All right, moving on to liaison reports. Guy, you got anything?
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Vic?
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Scott, you always have something.
Okay, I'm going to start with recreation, Megan, if you want to tee up the PowerPoint. Okay. All right. Well, I got a couple things I'll get to first here. First off, the Halloween parade was on October 23rd, and the Long Hill First Aid Trunk or Treat on October 29th. They were great events. There's a video link posted on our website, provided to us by LHTV, and I encourage everybody to go check that out. Saturday recreation basketball programs will now start on November 19th. Please note, the date was pushed, the start date was pushed back a week due to the teachers' conferences this week, and the fact that there would be a lighter attendance for the 12th. So November 19th is when Saturday rec basketball starts. Next, adult open play basketball is still open for registration. The program has started in October and runs to May 4th. It's a Thursday night thing. Check out the website for more details. Next, travel basketball teams are practicing, and they anticipate the start of their season on December 2nd. And plans are underway to help with this upcoming holiday season. Starting November 27th, the rec department will be collecting letters to Santa from Long Hill children and delivering them to the North Pole. The official Santa Claus mailbox will be located at Town Hall outside the entrance near the library. Final details will be announced shortly regarding our annual holiday house decorating contest and our annual cookie decorating contest. These are some photos from last year's participants. What great stuff. And then lastly, the Myersville tree lighting will be held on Sunday, December 4th at 5 p.m. at Myersville Circle. And don't forget to follow up with on Instagram, Long Hill Rec Parks Rec. So please look at that. Next, while we're in the holiday season, I have an update here from Shane Daly and Community Services. She says, please share our flyer for the Thanksgiving turkey and ham collection. Megan, I don't know if you have a copy of that, but turkeys and hams will be collected and distributed to pantry clients on November 19th. So if you get a free turkey from the supermarket and you want to donate it to a family in need, they're collecting turkeys and hams. And we'll have that on the website as well. Next, police liaison report for November 9th. So I will run through the statistics here. So self-initiated activity and calls for service year to date, 17,913. School activity year to date, 1,951. Motor vehicle stops year to date, 1,874. And motor vehicle crashes year to date, 155. Community policing and proactive residential radar posts, 1,402. And arrest incidents year to date, 31. Actual suspects, juvenile and adult, arrested, 33. Major incidents, none. With regard to community policing, data and statistics on autism spectrum disorder reflect that New Jersey has the highest rate of autism in the nation. The Long Hill Township Police Department is currently and proactively working on two major initiatives. First, Autism Shield training. This provides methods for law enforcement agencies to proactively work with individuals with autism, their families, and advocacy organizations, and apply tolerance and public relations skills when doing so. Specific kits designed with tools to assist officers to engage individuals with autism have been purchased and will be placed in each patrol car. Second, Blue Envelope. The blue envelope was created to enhance communication between a police officer and a driver with autism spectrum disorder. The purpose of the envelope is to have the driver place their insurance card, registration, and driver license in it so they can hand it to the officer during a traffic stop. On the outside of the envelope is helpful tips and instructions both for the officer and the driver on how to successfully communicate with each other. Blue envelopes will soon be available at the Long Hill Township Police Department for our residents. The Autism Shield training kits and blue envelopes initiatives will be officially unveiled by way of a press release. Stay tuned for further details. And a special thank you goes to Officer Engel and Officer McGuire for diligently working on various projects related to autism and special needs. And that concludes the police liaison report. Back to you, Matt. You're on mute.
Thank you. For the DPW, they're doing the street sweeping. We have the new street sweeper didn't come in yet, but they're loaning us one, the company, till we get ours. So we have a new street sweeper out there. They're doing leaf pickup. Just a reminder, the township does not pick up leaves in the gutter. Like you go to Union County or Scotch Plains or New Providence, they'll come and pick them up for you. But in here, you're not. So if you blow your leaves into the gutter, you could get a summons for blocking the streets. So pick up your own leaves, please. They're doing tree trimming. They're starting crack sealing this week. And as of tomorrow, the composting program will start. There are going to be collection bins. I think they're barrels. They're going to be over by the where the electronics drop off is by the fence. Check out the DPW Facebook page. Al says he's going to be posting stuff on there tomorrow. So as of tomorrow, if people have composting they want to drop off, please feel free to do so. And don't forget our other great recycling programs. With the holidays coming up, we have the cooking oil. So people that are doing their turduckens or whatever you're cooking and you have too much oil, please bring it down to the DPW instead of pouring it down your drain and clogging up the pipes. Obviously, with the holidays coming, we also have a lot of styrofoam. People are going to be getting gifts and televisions, all kinds of stuff. So we have the new recycling styrofoam, not new, but the new machine. You can drop it off at the library, outside the library, which is open 24/7, or at the DPW when they're open. And that's all I have to report. Nancy, what do you got?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to give an update on Main Avenue. The underground electrical work is going to be starting a little earlier than we thought. It's going to start on Monday. This is for the streetlights. Will be no street closures for this part of the job. We're happy that material came in earlier than expected, but the benches and planters will not probably not come in until the spring. Good news, the playground at Myersville Field is coming in a lot earlier than we thought. It should be installed by the end of the year. And I just want to talk about, there was some confusion, I think the day before yesterday over on Mountain Avenue. There were signs, there was an electronic sign that's still there. And then there was a sign, I think it was stapled to a tree. They notified motorists of construction work and said that the road would be closed. The sign that was attached to the tree said that the road would be closed starting, I think it was today, through sometime in March of next year. There was a lot of confusion. It turns out that a contractor from PSE&G mistakenly put up the sign saying that the road would be closed through March. But the electronic sign is also the contractor's, and that one is accurate. The road will be, well, it said it was going to be closed as of today. It will be, the date should have read Monday. The road will be closed beginning Monday and will be closed for 6 weeks. And that is because PSE&G is putting a new gas main on that street because it's old and unreliable. Unfortunately, we were only notified of the project by PSE&G yesterday, but the residents that live there have been, have received notification. The road will be closed from Valley Road all the way through the intersection down at Hillcrest, about 20 feet into the other side of the intersection, but the intersection, the four-way stop, will remain open throughout the project. Detour signs will be posted, and the one sign saying that the project would take 6 months was removed. I did ask them or remind them to change the date on the electric sign to say November 14th, that the project will begin on November 14th. But you know, it was a miscommunication between the contractor and PSE&G. So I apologize for that, but as soon as we got the information, we put it on our website, Facebook, and LHTV. That's all I have. You're muted, Mayor.
Going to with the best practice inventory. Is that you, Nancy, or is that Jack?
That is me.
Okay, go ahead.
Every year, this is an annual state requirement. The state gives a list of different things that are best practices, and if you don't meet enough, if you don't do enough, then you will lose some of your state aid, a percentage of your state aid. This year, we needed a 24 or higher to keep all of our state aid, and we scored a 27.5. So we will hold on to all of our aid. The state requires that you have a discussion about it. This counts as the discussion, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, you could just vote on it and adopt it.
Does anybody have any questions? All right, seeing none, let's see, can I have a motion to approve resolution 22-293, authorizing the clerk to file a certification, township committee review of the best practice inventory.
So moved.
Second.
That was Brendan.
That's fine.
Okay. Committeeman Lavender,
Yes.
Committeeman Ray,
Yes.
Committeeman Berleza,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia,
Yes.
Mayor Dorsey.
Yes. All right, so now we have these other items on the agenda. Let's see. Where are we here? So we go what, to the senior bus update, Nancy? You have any? I think we kind of, Brendan asked to review it in 6 months. So I think we have some information.
We do. So the last time we visited this for the first half of the year, we had 8.5 riders. The average come out to 8.5 riders per week. That average is up. So now we're up to 13 riders per week. So I think it was a matter of after, you know, not having the bus run because of COVID for over a year, residents were not, they weren't used to it. So now, as you can see, the ridership has increased. And so I would recommend that you keep the program going. And I know that the bus driver has increased places that they take the seniors. They're always looking for suggestions. We try not to go very far because the bus is old and we don't want it to go too far out of town. But there are a lot of places within reason that they can go. So I think that the more people get used to it, the more ridership we'll have.
Anybody have any questions about that?
I mean, it's good to hear that ridership's going up. People are beginning to, find out about it again. So that's great. A lot better than 6 months ago.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I know they're enthusiastic about it. I think I have to meet with the executive board of the senior center. I'm just waiting to hear from them probably in a week or so. And if they have any other ideas, I'm going to ask them about that as well. But it's nice to see more people using it. Charlie, I've talked to Charlie a bunch of times. He really enjoys doing it and enjoys the people he meets and goes places with. So,
and if I could just put out a reminder that we've tried to make it more of a community bus than just a senior bus. So
yes.
I know that Shane Daly takes requests from residents, during the week when, scheduled trips are not in progress. If you needed a ride, to the bank or, the doctor nearby, then, set it up with Shane and, we want to make this more available to other residents, all the residents.
All right. What's the next topic here? What's ordinance 496-22 is off. Is sidewalk still on or not?
Sidewalks, yeah, sidewalks is still on. We have discussed this before. We put it off a few times. A few years ago, we put money in the budget to begin to repair and replace sidewalks. We were going to divide it into the town into sections and then go section by section with a specific amount of money in the budget every year. DPW started to do some of the replacements. And we haven't really moved forward with this because we wanted you to decide how you want to handle this. So we currently we had the engineer do an inventory. This is last year's inventory, but it's still pretty valid. There is a total in town of 84,000 linear feet of sidewalk. They have estimated that 2,937 linear feet need repair, which is about 3% of the total sidewalks. That number might go down because as I said, DPW has been making their own, making repairs anyway. We estimate that it will cost approximately at this year's cost, $240,000 to fix everything. So what, if you're interested, we were thinking starting next year, spend about $50,000 a year, separate the town into 5 sections and, do it in 5 years or less. So the question for you is, A, do you want to put that capital into the budget next year and years afterwards? And then do you want to turn over, our recommendation is that you turn over the sidewalk maintenance and replacement, maintenance, repair and replacement to the homeowners that, where the frontage, that are attached to the sidewalk. Because once we've made the repair and they have a new sidewalk, then what's most common is that the homeowner or commercial business takes care of the sidewalk in front of their home or business. So I don't know if you want to have that discussion tonight.
So basically, basically start thinking about setting aside money to do the sidewalks and then turning them over.
I think it's about time that we make an
I think
investment.
first of all, we have to set aside money to do the sidewalks, regardless if we turn them over or not. So that's probably a good idea. And Al thinks that'll be enough money for each sector, or however he's doing it.
Well, this was a discussion with the engineer. We used the co-op pricing from this year. I'm sorry, we used the pricing from Top Line, what they used when they did Main Avenue. We used that price for the sidewalk there. It's just it's hit or miss as far as the cost going up and down over the years. But essentially, you put aside, if you decide it's $50,000, we put aside $50,000 and then we go out to bid and we max the number of square feet or linear feet that we can fix. So it will vary from year to year. It will do up to the amount of money that we have.
Any other questions?
No, I think it's about time. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think that the sidewalks are definitely in need of maintenance, definitely on Valley Road, and other areas in town. And I think it's great to invest in our infrastructure and to get on it immediately. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement with Vic as far as I think you're saying basically put the money in the budget and to keep the infrastructure up to scratch. The only issue I have is with turning over sidewalks to homeowners and Nancy, at some point in the future. Nancy, do you know how many or what the percentage of homeowners actually have sidewalks abutting their properties?
I don't have it broken down that way. No, I have
mean, I
it by
think-
street, but I don't have it by.
Yeah, because I mean, the reason I ask is I saw several years ago that it wasn't a large percentage. It certainly wasn't more than 50% of the town, and as I recall, it was like 20 to 30%. And so the only issue I have there is that kind of it's an additional tax on homeowners to take care of the sidewalks. And in the other town that I've lived in, other towns I've lived in, homeowners do take care of the sidewalks, but in those towns, it's generally everybody has a sidewalk outside of their home. So that's the only issue that I have with the proposal.
We haven't made any decisions tonight, but I thought for first of all, I think, is everybody in agreement that we should start setting aside money to do these projects going forward?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
That,
absolutely. And then I definitely would like to hear public comment, especially from those who have sidewalks that would be affected.
yeah, once we get to that point, but at least now, yeah, that's a discussion for a future date, but at least now we agree that come budget time next year, we should start putting some money in to start doing these things. And Brent, I think Brendan's right, is that most of the sidewalks are in commercial districts anyways, not too many in residential areas as it is. So we can figure out what that is. We figure you have Northfield, Sherwood, and there's not too many other ones. I mean, Main Avenue, but on Lower Sterling, nobody has sidewalks, even above the train tracks, enough sidewalks. So there's not too many. So we can discuss that later and get more statistics on that. But for now, I think we just agree we can put the money aside, and then the maintenance of it will be a separate discussion at some other time in next year, I guess. All right.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so now we have old business.
Mayor, before we go on, we do need to have a formal motion continuing the public hearing on ordinance 496-22.
Oh, go ahead.
Until the December 14th meeting with no further notice or publication.
You can take that.
I'm sorry, say that again, Jack?
It's a motion to continue the public hearing on ordinance 496-22 until the December 14 meeting.
Right.
With no further notice or publication.
Okay, I mean, you're asking for a motion?
Yes.
Okay,
We need a motion in the record.
it doesn't have to, okay, motion to carry.
Second,
Committeeman Lavender,
yes.
Committeeman Ray,
Jack, am I okay to vote on this since I missed the discussion? I mean, I'm familiar with it.
That's fine.
Yep, yes.
Committeeman Verleza,
Yes,
Deputy Mayor Paserchia,
Yes.
and Mayor Dorsey, you're abstaining.
Abstain. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so now we're going to old new business. There's a resignation from the Environmental Commission. Matt Dionizio is resigning as of today. And then based on a recommendation from the Environmental Commission, we're going to appoint Joyce Koenig from alternate one to the regular member, who's going to fill Mr. Dionizio's unexpired term that ends on December 31st of 2023. We don't have to vote on that, do we, Jack?
No, that's a mayoral appointment, so.
All right, then congratulations, Ms. Koenig. All right, now we're gonna move along to announcements. Brendan, when is the Millington Fire, when is your coin toss? Because I didn't have a date on that.
Oh, December 3rd.
Okay, so you heard it right here, December 3rd. Drive through the blinking light over by All Saints and help support the Millington Fire Company. That's a great fundraiser. So please come out, and if you have to go towards Basking Ridge or that way, please detour over there. Same thing, Sterling Fire Department. They're doing their coin toss over on Mountain and Valley Road over by Ancona and Marcy's Kitchen and Physical Therapy. That'll be Friday after Thanksgiving. So again, please make your effort to drive over there and see our men and women from Sterling Fire Company. We have the free rabies clinic, November 12th. That's this weekend at the Burnett Township Public Works, 10 to 12. So please bring your cat or dog there for the rabies clinic. 12 baskets. Scott already mentioned this. They're collecting turkeys and hams. Well, November 10th, which is tomorrow, the 14th and the 17th, Monday through Thursday at 4 p.m. at All Saints. So if you have a turkey or ham that you want to donate, please bring it over. The 10th, which is tomorrow, the 14th, the 17th, over at All Saints at 4 p.m. Thank you. Any other announcements from anybody?
yes, regarding yesterday's election results.
Go ahead.
I'd like to thank my mother and father. I'd like to thank my wife, Marta, my son JT, my daughter Victoria, especially my daughter Gianna. She was a part of it and helped me every day. I'd like to thank you, Mayor Dorsey, Deputy Mayor Pasercia, and Scott Lavender for your support. And most importantly, I'd like to thank the Long Hill voters. I'm humbled and grateful for those who voted for me. And I'd like to apologize to those who didn't. It's my job to try to reach every voter and earn their confidence in their vote. And I hope to keep the confidence and vote of those who voted for me. And I hope to earn the confidence and vote of those who didn't. I'd like to give a shout out to Frank Liberato for running a beast of a campaign. He got me up, he got me busy, he got me engaged, more engaged with the community. And moving forward, I would like to hope that Frank and I could work together for the benefit of Long Hill Township. We love the community, and it's time for all of us to start working together. So thank you to everybody. I'm honored to have the opportunity to serve our community for another 3 years. Thank you.
All right, so now we open the meeting to the public. It's, as usual, 3 minutes. It's one shot at 3 minutes. You could, we're not here to debate you, but if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please feel free to come up to the mic. Anybody? Megan?
There is a CA that would like to speak.
Charles Aronowitz, Millington, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
This week is Veterans Day, as well as the 247th anniversary and birthday of the United States Marine Corps. I take great offense when someone doesn't stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. Several of you tonight didn't stand up right away for the Pledge of Allegiance. I will name you if you want, but you can watch the video. Such disrespect by the people that didn't stand up right away is very disrespectful to me, to the veterans in this country, and the United States Marine Corps. Number two, I'm very surprised I didn't get an update on the MRI report tonight, and I'd like to have one. Number three, I sent you an email after last month's meeting on Zoom and its technical capabilities. If we are going to continue in this manner, I'd like to know if those technical capabilities are going to be added to the Zoom calls. Number four, I sent you an email this morning on media communications. The planning board meeting was canceled last night because of lack of transmission. When and what steps have you taken since this morning to correct these problems? 4 or 5, there was no update from Mr. Lavender on the Wagner Farm Tower. That's very critical to all of us. I'd like to get an update on that. And Resolution 49622, I sent you emails on the history of this ordinance. What is taking so long to resolve these issues? It's your turn, Mayor, to respond to all the questions, and I did it in less than 2 minutes. Congratulations.
Well, congratulations on your win over Clemson on Saturday, too. All right, planning board was canceled. There was an issue that somebody went to update the software, and that's what threw the planning board meeting offline. I believe Nancy can probably give you a better update in a second. The MRI report, let's go. Let's start with Scott. Scott, do you want to tell him about the Wagner Farm?
Yep. So the new radio tower came online. The police department and the 2 fire departments were transitioned over to the new system on November 1st, and everything is working as planned. As I understand it from Mr. Mike Peoples, transmission and reception is excellent.
All right. Next. All right. Jack, do you want to tell him about the MRI report?
Yes, the MRI report has been received by the Township Committee. It was just received and circulated. It has not been reviewed yet by the Township Committee, so it is still a deliberative material at this point in time. It will be released in the near future with reductions, but it will not be released this evening.
All right, Nancy, did I address the Zoom issue, not the Zoom issue? The issue with the planning board, is there more to add to that?
Mayor, just to follow up on that, as I have said at numerous meetings, the issue was with one of the programs that we have, there's no maintenance or support for it. So it just kind of highlights the topic that I've brought up in the past, that, you know, unfortunately, we're gonna spend a little bit more money on this. I am applying for grants. Ironically, Zoom gives out technology grants, so we're applying for those. But for the current situation, our TV consultant will be coming in hopefully tomorrow. We don't have an in-person meeting for almost a month. So if he can't come in tomorrow, he'll come in next week, and hopefully we'll be able to resolve it at least temporarily. The other thing, I think, Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that I heard you say earlier that the MRI report would be eventually posted on the website. So
That's correct, probably.
Yes, so no need for Oprah request.
That's correct.
And what was the last one, something about a history of, I don't know what, is that
No,
the?
no, you didn't answer hardly any of my questions. Let's go back. You
What
didn't
was the last
respond to
one?
my message on the Zoom capabilities. And if we continue with these meetings on Zoom, what capabilities that I requested and are available you're going to add?
I don't remember the email. They've
I'll
said,
look it up.
okay. And what was the one you had a question about history?
Yeah, 49622. It's been going on for 6 months. What's going on?
Is that the car wash one?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, if it is, I don't know about it, so I
Then
can't tell
let's,
you.
yes, go to the deputy mayor if he's awake.
Ordinance 496 is the Valley Road.
Are you the deputy mayor?
Jack can answer it.
Yeah, it's the Valley Road zoning ordinance. The Township Committee has gotten reports from 2 different reports from the planning board and 1 from the township planner, and they're just considering it further before they take final action.
I want you to comment my history that I sent you in the list. That's not quite the right response, Mr. Attorney.
Well, I'm not sure what you're looking for then, Mr.
I want the history of why it's taken so long.
I thought I just told you the history.
No, you didn't. So try again.
I think we've been through the history. This ordinance was originally submitted by the chairman of the planning board.
No,
It was
it was,
introduced by
he
Jack.
wasn't, he had no authority from the planning board. He sent it individually.
I'm not going to comment whether he had authority. He submitted it. It was introduced by the Township Committee. It was referred to the planning board as required by the municipal land use law. The planning board considered it at a public meeting. They sent us a consistency report. Then they reconsidered part of their consistency report. They submitted an amended report, which recommended that the Township Committee remove a provision which allowed assisted living facilities to be 4 stories and 55 feet. They recommended that they delete that section from the ordinance. The Township Committee then referred it to Jessica Caldwell, the Township Planner, who agreed with the Planning Board's recommendation.
And I think there was an issue with long-term stay. And why wasn't the township planner involved earlier?
Because it was referred to the Planning Board, which is the statutory procedure. When it came back from the Planning Board with that recommendation, the Township Committee thought it appropriate to send it to the Township Planner to get her input. So that's the history of the ordinance.
I will recap that for you tomorrow in an email to correct so the public knows exactly what happened.
My email is always open.
Great. Anybody want to comment on the Pledge of Allegiance?
Matt, you're on mute.
No, people were standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
They were not, Matthew.
I know
All
I
right,
stood right up.
next person, please, Megan.
There's a Mr. Ferrandino that would like to speak.
Yes, thank you. My question is, why are we having Zoom meetings?
Well, That's the only question, Joe?
No, I was questioning the Zoom meeting. Why are we having them? How much longer does the town council think they're going to have them? And we have this huge town hall that was built, which is underutilized to start with, and now we don't even have our meetings there. Why?
Okay, do you have any more questions? And I'll address them when you're done with your questions.
That's it. The Zoom meeting.
Thanks, Joe. Well, the reason why we're having Zoom meetings, again, for the last 2 meetings, we've been actually very productive. We've heard a lot of the residents. We get actually more residents, I think, join the Zoom meetings, and we have more participation. We've got a lot of work done on these meetings. And ironically, this week, we couldn't have had the meeting in town hall anyway, because of the issue you heard about that Mr. Renowitz brought up regarding the microphones. He didn't know it was the microphones, but there was an issue with the software, and we couldn't have broadcast the meeting anyway because the microphones wouldn't work. So luckily, we had the meeting planned for Zoom today anyway. But again, it's a game time decision. It could be back in public, assuming the technology works, and we could be back in public for the first meeting in December. I hope that answered your question.
Okay, but why are we having them to start with?
Why? Well, I told you, we've had them. We've had the Zoom meetings. We've been very productive the last 2 or 3 Zoom meetings. We've had no technological issues whatsoever. And as you know from going to the meetings, I believe it was early October or September, we had a lot of problems with technology. We had to stop the meeting in one of them. And we've gotten actually very good public participation at our Zoom meetings.
And this has got nothing to do with the investigation of the police and fire department.
There's no investigation of the fire department that I'm aware of. And no, it has absolutely nothing to do with any external or internal investigations that are going. Absolutely not.
In my humble opinion, it's a bad look that there was the investigation of the police department, and now we're not having public meetings for whatever reason. It just doesn't look good. The optics are very, very bad. But, I guess you guys are running the show best you see fit. So in the meantime, it doesn't give me a lot of confidence as to what's going on in my town. That's just me.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Next, Megan.
There's a Gary Pratt that would like to speak.
Okay. So I have a few questions. My first question is a procedural question. According to the agenda, it says that comments and remarks are limited to 3 minutes. It does not say that those 3 minutes include the time that committee members speak. Please clarify that.
Well, we're letting you speak, and then usually when the person is done, then we comment. So you can continue to comment.
But the clock keeps ticking. So in other words, if you choose to, you can sandbag, speak for 3 minutes, and we can't speak anymore. Is that correct?
In theory, yes, but that hasn't been my practice. I asked Mr. Ferrandino if he continued to have any more questions, because I was going to let him speak and then I would address him, or we would address him.
But I'd like to know that the agenda does not say that it includes the committee members' time. The appearance is that each resident should be restricted to 3 minutes. The time that you folks speak in reply to our comments should not count against us.
Okay.
Okay, what?
I don't want to eat into your time. That's why I'm letting you speak, and then I'll.
So in other words, you're disagreeing with me because I see the time's still running. You know that that's very unfair. Okay, and I'm same thing. You don't allow follow-ups. That was not the case when we were having public in-person meetings. Okay, you have arbitrarily and capriciously can't come up with this concept, and I'd like you to explain to us why you think that's reasonable when in fact you know that it is very frustrating to residents.
My goal is not to eat up, or our goal is not to eat up your 3 minutes by talking. However, you keep trying to engage me in a conversation to eat up the time, so I have to answer your questions. That's not my goal here.
You didn't answer my question. Why are follow-ups not allowed? Why did
No,
you decide that on your own to do that?
You can ask all the follow-up questions you want, as long as you contain them to the 3 minutes that we're having right now.
No, why can we only speak once?
Because that's the rule I made on Zoom.
Why?
Because it was more orderly that way, and you don't have the same people repeat the same thing over and over again.
Okay, will you acknowledge that many residents over these past 3 meetings have expressed concerns about that? Are you saying that you don't care?
No, I'm not saying I don't care. I'm just saying I weighed that into my, Miss Noonan's one of them. We've had conversations about it. She asked me as of Monday. And I told her we're going to stick to the same format we've been using.
Okay, I have one more question, and I'd like the time to stop because I'm going to be done talking after this. So my question, I would like to ask each of the committee members if they agree with the mayor's decision to continuing not having in-person meetings and to limit the conversations to 3 minutes, including the time that you folks speak, and that we're not allowed to speak more than once. I'd like to hear each committee member respond to that question.
If anybody wants to respond, that's fine with me.
I don't think they need your permission, Matt.
Yeah. Hey, Gary, this is Guy. Good to hear your voice. So, what I would point out is it's very typical at any township committee meeting and any meeting I know of in certainly in Morris County, where there is a time limit, generally speaking, 3 minutes. I know accommodations are made from time to time if there's an engagement like Matt was saying, and this is a perfect example. We're going to go well beyond 3 minutes to address this. As far as follow-ups, that is also very typical what happens here in Long Hill, that you kind of get one chance and you can ask as many questions as you want. And I think Matt does an excellent job by writing down each of the questions, whether it's 1 or 10, and then he addresses each and every one of those questions. And here, I mean, this is an example of where there is kind of back and forth as to what the topic is. And I think what was the last part? Oh, whether well, I'll speak for myself. Personally, I like in-person meetings, but I appreciate what the mayor has done over the last month. There was an original reason why we went to Zoom that's been discussed previously. And so, I mean, I'm fine either way. And one thing is for sure, there are more participants when we are on Zoom than when we are in person, way more. There's 30, I think, participants tonight. I don't remember the last time we had 30 residents, other than when we had maybe a police promotion or a hire, or maybe an award given to, for example, Gracie Lean for the Whit Grace Foundation. So, I mean, if engagement is the goal, Zoom does a better job than in person. You know, if simply having the meeting in person is the goal, well, yeah, I hear what Mr. Ferrandino said, but engagement is much more, I think, on Zoom than it is in person. Did I answer your question? Or
Yes.
questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Yes, Mr. Pratt, I respect your question also. I think Deputy Mayor Paserchia answered the majority of, you know, what more can I really add to that other than I don't have any problems coming in person moving forward, but I do respect the decision and circumstances at times that require us to do it by Zoom. But I believe we'll be in person in December. And thank you for your participation.
Gary, you know, call me old fashioned, but I do like the in person. meetings. We had too many by Zoom during, for good reason during COVID. So I appreciated the time whenever we could get back together. But if there are sometimes there are circumstances that occur that we need to kind of fall back on Zoom, and that's on a case by case basis as far as I'm concerned. The 3 minutes rule is something that I'm not a big fan of. I think if there's a heavy turnout, then yeah, you can definitely limit questions to 3 minutes. But I think in general, the 3 minute is not the 3 minute rule. In my opinion, is not conducive to a good back and forth with our residents, and this is very often the only time that we get to speak together. And so that's my opinion on the 3 minute rule.
And I'll finish up here. Looking forward to getting back in person. Always good. With regard to the 3 minutes, let's be clear. You have the floor for 3 minutes, and so how you decide to use the floor when you have it is your choice. And so our recommendation is, if you have a lot of questions that you want to ask those up front. The mayor will write them down, and when you're finished, we'll answer them. So thank you very much.
Scott,
All
that's
right.
not, wait, excuse me.
No,
That's not
you're next.
Wait,
That's true. Next person, Madam Clerk.
There's a Pamela Ogens that would like to speak.
Thank you. This is for Committeeman Lavender. Was field testing done on the improved communication systems with the tower at Wagner Farms now working? Now that's I have 3 minutes, so why don't you just not jot that down and answer it after my 3 minutes. Next, under consideration, the community bus with, of course, the approval of Shane Daly. Would that be worthwhile and under your consideration to put on the Long Hill Township website? I don't believe it's there. That residents, is it there? It's there, Nancy? Okay, then cross that out. We historically, from when I attend meetings, attendance in December tends to drop off because of the holidays. I don't think that this year would be any different. We have some very important business with ordinance 504-22, discussion about firearms, with the other ordinance, the 49622, the business development and downtown, and also with the redevelopment agreement, that being resolution 22-291. I put this for your consideration because we would expect a drop in attendance in December that possibly be considered after the holidays, but that's just my idea. Can you lower your phone so I can see how much time I have left? Okay,
1:10.
I have 1 minute and a couple seconds. I believe Mayor Dorsey, you said that having meetings this way you consider more productive, and that attendance, participants that tune in is higher. I would like to see live meetings with a possibility for people to simultaneously attend via Zoom if you're looking for the best possible combination, which I think would keep your concern, Mayor Dorsey, of productivity while enhancing participation. In that respect, I agree with Mr. Pratt. I think that's about all I have, and I still have 14 seconds, but I'll yield to the floor.
I like that. Obviously, we addressed your community bus issue. Like I said, the meetings in December is a very good possibility. They will be live again. And you're right, when you get a mixed group, you get more participation. So I don't disagree with you there. And I believe you had a question for Scott, can answer about something about the radios.
Yeah, I think Pam, you had asked about the testing of the radios, and yes, county had conducted portable radio testing with one of our officers at well over 150 different locations in town, and they documented that the radio coverage has increased dramatically, both within the schools and a number of buildings in town. And there have been no issues raised since this thing went live on November 1st.
All right. Next person, Megan.
There's a Marianne Noonan that would like to speak.
Go ahead, Marianne.
Matt, how are you?
Hello?
Hello, Matt? Can
I hear you.
Okay,
I hear
Matt, I'm going to ask you that we could have a dialogue.
Well, for 3 minutes, you can answer your,
No, not a 3-minute. I would like to have a dialogue.
well, we can do it for 3 minutes.
No, it's not your decision, Matt.
Yes, it is, but go ahead.
No, you may be the mayor. Okay, I'm the last person that you probably want to start with right now. Okay, let's have a dialogue. Is this okay? Or okay, I'm 228, which is my birthday in December. Matt, I'm serious.
I'm
Let's get
listening.
this over with. Okay, to begin with, I came into this meeting tonight and I was glad to see some cohesiveness amongst the members of the committee. Okay, I personally reached out to everyone. You're fully aware in terms of who I communicate with. I communicate with everyone. Okay, let's not isolate residents. Okay, had it not been for me, no one in this township would have been aware of the signage on Hillcrest. True?
No, I saw the sign on Monday night.
Okay, who sent all the emails out? And you stipulate, I'm not fighting with you, Matt, but we need to get the forum back in the public so that I can speak after residents who have spoken previously to you with maybe some of the communications and knowledge I know. And Megan, please, can you put that down?
No, no, you
Okay, no.
asked us a question and we addressed it. We brought it to our attention. Actually, I met with Al. I forget, was it yesterday morning? He didn't even know about the road closure. Nancy and Al looked into it and we got answers to it. I think it was posted right on the town
Yeah,
website.
I know. You're just saying it very simplistically right now. I went to Mr. Crane in Warren. Somerset never notified anyone. Okay, there could have been a major dispute with regards to signage because of everything that's been going on. I'm just very frustrated. You may start losing residents like me who really care. Okay, and with regards to communications back and forth with the planning board, the items that I have brought up, okay, there seems to be a disconnect. And you know what? I'm at this point where I really don't care, okay? And you cannot isolate any more people like someone like me. You initially, Matt, responded to me to say it was the bridge. That was inaccurate information, okay? I reached out to numerous people. I also have connections. I am willing to help this township. And all of you, every single one of you, and Mr. Lavender, you don't know me yet, okay? But I think every one of you know what I have contributed. Anything I have given has been positive. So please, please do not start isolating residents like me who are volunteering their own time and telling you what is going on around us. And if anyone has a look of disgust on their face right now, you know what? That's not good. Can I ask every one of you right now, can we just make peace and end this? And let's just get over this. You know, politics runs in my blood, believe me. And the fact of the matter, I don't want to see the whole MRI report redacted. I don't want to have to pay for redactions by Mr. Pigeon, okay? Can we have peace in this township? This is my final plea, because you're going to have some really good people who are just going to walk away from the table, and I am one of them.
Thank you, Mary Ann.
Okay, Matt?
Yes, I hear you.
Do you appreciate what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, then you're not gonna have to pay for the MRI report because it's gonna.
No, Matt, on the whole.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying. I thank you because
Does everyone understand what I am trying to get across?
Yes.
Guy?
he's on.
Guy, you have to unmute
Sorry.
yourself.
Yeah, no, I know, I was on mute. Sorry, Marianne. No, I appreciate, I know your heart is in the right place and you're sincere and loving the town. I think as I can say, everybody on the township committee does. We're not always going to agree.
Well, I'm not looking for agreement because all I do is present facts. And the thing is, there's factual information that you guys are all working. I happen to be retired. Lucky me, I worked on Wall Street for 35 years. Sorry, everyone, okay? I have a lot of money, so ha. But anyway, you know what? And I'm on disability. Thank you, cancer, but we'll forget about that. So you know what? We got to make peace, all of you. I don't know how to stress this anymore, okay? I'm gonna have Vic, he's gonna start being my trainer, okay? So I could play as a female before I turned 60, because I had the greatest corner shot in basketball, okay? Guys, this is enough. Let's just get the unity together. You know, I just want to take all of you and say, we're such a little town. I went to the poll center, and I never met so many people. Some were crazy, some were whatever, but they attracted to me, okay? Maybe there's a reason. Maybe it's Mr. Bat again, okay? And I still have Mr. Bat, okay? But honestly, all of you, you know what I could reduce, okay? And there's other people. Let's not alienate people, please. I mean, all I'm asking is for peace. The world is ugly enough, and you start losing someone like me, it's not going to be good.
Thank you, Mary Ann.
Thank you for that kind-hearted message, Mary Ann. I appreciate your interaction.
Thank you, Marianne.
Anybody else that hasn't spoken yet?
There's a Mark Di Giovanni that would like to speak.
Good afternoon, good evening. Couple things around the response that you guys have given with regards to the Zoom meeting. The first one really is 3 minutes of time, and I brought this up previously. If you provide response in dialogue, and that's what your intent is, that we have dialogue. If you answer a question and do not allow a simple rebuttal or response to your questions, because I'll be honest with you, 2 meetings ago, Mayor, I brought up a specific question. It was addressed by 3 or 4 people after that. You had made a couple responses to that I thought were certainly worthy of a response. And your verbal cue to Megan was decline him. It is on video that you did such a thing, right? And it's not an ego thing. I could care less. I really could care less. But the fact is that it tells me your intent is not to engage in dialogue. You're talking about this meeting being more productive. Yes, it's more productive for you. We're getting through things faster because you're keeping people from commenting or bringing up more components after you answer, right? Those are some of the things that I don't necessarily appreciate. Secondly, you guys keep on stating that there's more engagement. Do you guys count the heads of people on the live meeting when we're in person? Have you guys been keeping track of that number? How many people show up? No, you haven't. So I don't want to hear that you think that engagement is higher because of an eyeball test. Produce some statistics to back up what you are saying, because personally, I don't believe it, right? And that's my belief, right? That's just my skepticism. I think there's other reasons why we're not having the meetings. And I think everybody else does. And to be honest with you, I would much rather be at home. I don't want to go on my Wednesday night to go spend time, but because of the consistent deflective answers that you guys give, and just the lack of just, it just reeks of, hey, you know what, we'll have this, but we really don't want to hear from you. I'm not the only person that feels this way. Maybe that's not the intent that you guys want, but that's what you give off. And I think it's upsetting to people, right? To me specifically, I think it's just not a good look. So I hope we move back to the in-person meetings with Zoom. You'll get more engagement by offering two than through one. I think that's really just the point I wanted to make with regards to that. I think we're getting more done, great, but I don't think the people within the town are enjoying it in this format at all. So that's just my 2 cents, but thank you, Vic. Good job. Congratulations to you on winning. And Lavender, Committeeman Lavender, I'm glad to hear that the transmissions are finally working well and that we see actual improvement, and there's statistical basis for backing that up. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Megan, anybody else want to speak that hasn't spoken yet?
There's a Frank Liberato that would like to speak.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
we can.
Good evening, members of council. I wanted to reach out tonight and just say that I wanted to thank everyone that supported me in the campaign and all the residents that did turn out. And I also want to congratulate Vic on his winning the council seat. And I will continue to remain involved, and I look forward to being an important resource to the community. I love the community, and I'm here if the committee needs me for anything to continue to be involved and engaged. And I will continue to come to the meetings and do my part to, help look out for the best in the community. And it's also very good to hear about the Wagner Farm Tower. Very good news. Very happy to hear that that's going in the right direction. And additionally, I do agree with Mark about the in-person meetings. I think, it would go a long way with some of the residents if we could get back to in-person along with Zoom. I think this way it's the best of both worlds for everybody. And that's pretty much it, what I have for this evening. Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Frank.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just say, Frank, thank you for your kind words. One thing I would point out, and I don't think it was noticed when we went to the combined hybrid Zoom in-person meeting, I'm not aware of any other town that does that. So in terms of engagement, I think this committee really has tried. The exception is the last few weeks or the last few meetings for reasons we've discussed previously. But in terms of trying to engage the community, and there may be a town out there or two that does it. I'm not aware of any town that does in-person and Zoom. And I think that's reflective of what Mayor Dorsey and this committee has tried to do in terms of engaging the community. And so, I'm not asking for any kudos on it, other than to say, I think the intent of this committee to engage with the residents is clear, and it will continue to be clear.
All right, Megan, anybody else that has not spoke that wants to speak?
There's a Kathy O'Leary that would like to speak.
Hi, Kathy O'Leary, Millington. First of all, I want to say I really appreciate Marianne. She and I have had a lot of conversations. I appreciate all the work she's done and all of the things she's brought to light for the town. And I also agree with her sentiment that I would really like to see peace in this town. However, I disagree with what seemed to be a just let's move on kind of idea. Because in order to have peace and reconciliation, we need to have an inventory. We need to have a truth telling. And I don't mean that in the sense of that folks are lying, but I do, what I mean is that when you've done harm to someone, you need to have an accurate and a public accounting, an admission of the harm that you've done. And I don't think there's any of that has happened from this township committee, particularly not with this statement that still remains pinned to our Facebook page for our township. Anyone who comes to our township sees that pugilistic statement that was supposed to apparently substitute for a statement about diversity and inclusion. I don't feel welcome when I read that statement. I don't think other people feel welcome when they read that statement. It really smacks of victim blaming as opposed to any kind of a conciliatory attempt to resolve differences that have been ongoing with the chief of police for a very long time that have boiled over into the public. Now, and I would hope that Mayor Dorsey and Committeeman Ray and Jack Pigeon and would all comment on what a tort claim is, the fact that that is a filing by an attorney, an officer of the court, an official document, that they have said that what is in that statement essentially is they have some reasonable basis to believe that that's true. And that attorney has said that there are recordings of the statements that were made, which means that someone in that attorney's office, probably that attorney, has heard those recordings. So you can say it's locker room talk, and I've heard that excuse being thrown around town, that it's locker room talk, but it really doesn't matter if that has hurt another person. You've been told by this person that you have hurt them, and yet you are not admitting to that. What example are you setting? What example are you setting for our town, for our children? What example what face are you showing to the community? And it's getting out of our community now. It's been on the news, on the television, on the radio, and in multiple newspapers. So I'd like to hear what you have to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy, and congratulate your son for winning his award for his horse jumping. That was pretty cool. This is under full investigation. A tort claim notice doesn't have to be filed by an attorney. It can be filed by a private citizen. I filed one when my car was hit by a dump truck from Somerset County. However, it's being fully investigated. I don't know if you knew that or not. We want to hear the recordings. I haven't heard them. And like I said, we have an outside counsel investigating and speaking to all witnesses. Anybody mentioned that in that tort claim she's talking to. So when the investigation comes out, it'll come out, and it is what it is.
But this doesn't affect your statement, the statement that you made.
I'm not here to argue with you.
And whether or not it could be filed by someone who's not an attorney, it was filed by someone who is an attorney. And that was my point.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't appreciate you twisting it that way.
I'm not twisting it. I'm not saying it wasn't filed by an attorney, but I see a lot of complaints that are filed by attorneys, and they're just accusations, and they're one person's position. So when things get investigated and come to fruition, then we'll see what's going on. But I can make accusations. You can make accusations against me. But
you're investigating yourselves. You guys.
I'm not investigating myself. We brought an outside counsel who doesn't know anybody here to investigate this and interview people and get to the bottom of it. So that's what's going on. And
what does that have to do with your statement that you made? That was not an effort to bring our community together. You cannot say that was an effort to bring our community together. It was an effort to tear down our chief of police. I'm not the only person who said that. Mr. Muldoon, who spoke previously at this meeting, had the same.
No, I remember. Thank you. Megan, is there anybody else on Zoom that has not?
Thank you, Ms. O'Leary.
I don't see anybody that hasn't already spoken previously, Ms. Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody, any other questions, comments from, or anybody else in the public that would like to speak now? Megan, anybody else new?
I don't see anyone, Mayor.
Thank you. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice Thanksgiving. We'll see you in December, hopefully live.
Thank you, Mayor Dorsey.